As we mark 20 years since the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil, we want to pay tribute to the heroes who ran into danger to help so many others escape. 343 New York City firefighters died on September 11th, and that does not include the more than 250 who have since died from illnesses related to the attack. This morning, we are sharing the story of one of New York City's bravest and his sons who are carrying on the legacy.
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan.
20 years ago this week.
Oh my God, another plane has just hit another building.
After the worst terror attack in American history, the best of America rushed in to help.
And that's what the guys are taught.
Joe and Chuck Downey knew their father, Ray Downey, would be among them.
Did a part of you hope maybe there's a chance your father wasn't there in the mix?
I thought that.
Yeah. I said even if he was home, he would have been heading in.
He would have been there no matter what.
Yeah.
Sure enough, a film crew happened to capture Deputy Chief Downey that morning coordinating rescues in the lobby of the North Tower. Raymond Matthew Downey Sr. knew the dangers that day perhaps better than anyone.
Hello. My name is Ray Downey Sr.
He developed training programs as a pioneer in the field of so-called technical rescue, meaning he was an expert in pulling people from collapsed buildings.
He went to every major disaster in the city, or pretty much in the country at that time.
After a truck bomb leveled the federal building in Oklahoma City in 1995, Downey led the search for survivors. And when it came to saving lives, he had a nickname as big as his reputation.
Someone said, oh yeah, he's sitting next to God on the way in. I'm like, who's God? He said, oh yeah, they refer to your dad that way sometimes. I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
They just saw how he operated at fires and conducted himself at emergencies, and he just was always in charge.
So the Downey brothers knew where their father would be that day.
He parked right here on West Street because that's where we found his car.
And they knew he wouldn't leave, no matter what.
He has that mentality. He wasn't leaving until he could save as many people as possible.
Even as the towers burned above him. Even as he knew exactly what could happen.
Were you angry when you found out he wasn't coming home?
Maybe a little angry at first, but then as it went on, more proud that you can give your life, that you talk about all the time. And not many people do that, consciously give their life for others. And he did it that day. And I think it's just fitting who he was and the person that he was, that he would do that.
Ray Downey is buried on New York's Long Island, not far from where his children grew up, in a home now lined with tributes and awards.
I haven't seen these in a long time.
A flip through some family photos reveals some of the risks he faced every day.
Oh, wow.
Coming out of a fire.
God, yeah.
Coming out of a fire?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like he's sweating and he didn't really use his mask much.
Trying to breathe.
So you may wonder, as we did, how his wife Rosalie feels about two of her sons following in Ray's footsteps.
Very proud. I couldn't feel more proud. And I tell him all the time, your father is really smiling up there. I know it.
Chuck Downey is now a deputy chief like his father. And Joe, a battalion chief, works in his dad's old firehouse.
This is your father up here on the left?
Yes.
Where Ray still has a presence.
You always refer back to Ray Downey. You really do.
But 20 years later, the Downey brothers worry the rest of us might still need a reminder of the sacrifices made by their father and the 342 other firefighters who went into those buildings that day and never came out.
It's easy to forget. Everybody says we're never going to forget. They use that term, but a lot of people do forget. And I'm not faulting them. If they're not personally connected, you could forget.
Yeah.
So just that alone is, I think, part of the reason that we want to give back and carry his name. And I think that goes in every firehouse. Guys were friends with people that passed, and they want to keep that person's legacy alive because of their sacrifices.
And Chuck and Joe Downey are keeping that legacy alive. Their father is a very definition of valor. We ran into the former commissioner of the fire department at Ground Zero, Tom Van Essen, who told us that on 9/11, Ray Downey actually found him in the lobby of one of the towers before they fell, and he said to him, you know, boss, these towers can come down, which lets you know that he was conscious of the risk.
He knew.
And the rescue situation was active. Thousands were coming out. People were being saved. He knew he was in danger, and they stayed, him and everyone else, and that is the very definition of a hero.
I'm so impressed with his sons, too, to go that journey from anger to pride. And I can't imagine what it was like seeing your dad's car, knowing that you're not going to see your dad again. But it's beautiful, too, to see his picture in the firehouse.
Yeah.
So as a son, you get to see
the legacy lives on forever.
It is the biggest sacrifice you can make, your life, to save somebody else.
Yes.